Welcome back, everyone. We've got a really cool deep dive planned for today, and it's one that many of you requested. Yeah, we're diving into the world of Slow Horses. Have you heard of it? It's a British series based on some novels by Mick Herron.
Oh, I love those books.
I gotta admit, when I first heard that title, I was picturing, literal slow horses.
Right.
Not exactly what comes to mind when you think of a spy thriller.
Definitely not James Bond.
But the more I read up on this series, the more I realized this is a spy story, for sure. But it's not the kind we're used to.
It's got a really unique flavor.
Exactly. So let's get right into it. What is Slow Horses really about, and why has it captured so many people's imaginations?
Well, at its core, it's about MI5, which is kind of like Britain's version of the FBI.
Okay, so we're dealing with internal threats, espionage, that kind of thing.
Exactly. But here's the twist. These aren't your glamorous, globe-trotting super spies.
You mean no Aston Martins, no fancy gadgets?
Not quite. Instead, Slow Horses focuses on the agents who've messed up.
Oh, so like the ones who tripped on the red carpet at the embassy gala?
More like the ones who accidentally blew their cover or maybe made a bad call that had some serious consequences.
Okay, so they're not exactly the A-team.
No, definitely not. And because of their mistakes, they get demoted.
Sent to, let me guess, some boring desk job where they just shuffle papers all day.
You're pretty close. They end up at a place called Slough House.
Slough House. Even the name sounds kind of depressing.
Right. It's basically this rundown building in a kind of forgotten corner of London where all the disgraced agents are sent.
Slough House. It sounds like the island of misfit toys, but for spies.
I love that analogy. And in a way, that's what makes it so fascinating.
Because we're not just seeing the polished, perfect side of espionage.
Exactly. We see the fallout, the human cost of those mistakes.
So these agents stuck in Slough House, are they just like giving up on their careers?
Not at all. See, that's where the real drama kicks in.
Yeah.
These agents, they still want to be in the game.
They still want to prove they're not just washed up.
Exactly. They're craving redemption, a chance to show they still have what it takes.
But they're stuck in this bureaucratic purgatory.
Exactly. And that tension between their desire to get back in the action and the reality of their situation, that's what drives the show.
It's like they're constantly looking over the fence at the greener grass.
And that feeling, I think, is something we can all relate to, right?
Oh, absolutely. Haven't you ever felt like you had more to offer, but you were being overlooked?
Or that you were stuck in a rut wanting to break free and show what you're really capable of?
That's what makes these characters, these slow horses, so compelling, even if they are a bit rough around the edges.
They are, but they're also deeply human, flawed, and trying to make the best of a bad situation.
Okay, so we've got these sideline spies, this dreary setting, and this yearning for redemption.
But it's not all doom and gloom.
Right, gotta have some action, right?
Slow Horses does an amazing job of balancing the internal struggles of the characters with moments of real spy thriller excitement.
Okay, so we're talking chases, betrayals, maybe even a few explosions thrown in for good measure.
You got it. But it never loses sight of the characters.
Their motivations, their pasts, their relationships.
Exactly. And that's what makes the action scenes so much more impactful.
Because we're not just watching things blow up. We're invested in the people involved.
Exactly. And it's not afraid to explore the consequences.
The moral gray areas of espionage, which I'm guessing makes it all the more realistic.
Slow Horses definitely doesn't shy away from the darker side of things.
And how about the world of the show itself? Does it feel authentic?
It strikes a really interesting balance.
Okay, how so?
It definitely incorporates elements of real MI5 tradecraft, procedures, that kind of thing. But it's not a documentary. It's still a work of fiction.
So there's creative license taken, but it's grounded in some reality.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes it so effective. It allows us to explore the psychological impact of espionage.
The toll it takes on individuals.
The weight of secrets, the betrayals.
Yeah, that's something everyone can relate to on some level, right?
Absolutely. We've all kept secrets, felt the pressure of making tough choices.
And Slow Horses amplifies those feelings. Shows us what happens when the stakes are incredibly high.
It really gets under your skin.
Speaking of getting under your skin, we have to talk about Gary Oldman as Jackson Lamb.
Oh, he's brilliant.
He plays the head of Slough House, right?
Oh, yeah, he's the one who oversees all these misfit spies.
And from what I've read, he's not exactly your typical boss.
Not at all. He's gruff, sarcastic, often downright unpleasant.
Sounds like someone you wouldn't want to run into at the water cooler.
But Oldman brings such depth to the character. You see glimpses of brilliance, maybe even a twisted sense of compassion beneath that grumpy exterior.
So he's more than just a one-dimensional curmudgeon.
Oh, much more. And Oldman, he just embodies the role perfectly.
It makes you wonder what made Jackson Lamb this way.
What kind of experiences led him to Slow House?
And is there any hope of redemption for him, too?
Those are the kinds of questions that Slow Horses makes you ask,
And it doesn't always provide easy answers.
which is what keeps you coming back for more.
Now, you mentioned earlier that the show's really well made.
Oh, yeah. The production quality is top-notch.
But I gotta be honest, some of the dialogue felt a little cheesy at times.
I see where you're coming from.
Maybe it's a stylistic choice, but it kind of took me out of the moment sometimes.
I think they were going for a certain tone, a blend of dark humor and suspense.
But overall, Slow Horses is more than just a spy show, right?
Exactly. It's about second chances, resilience, the human cost of secrets,
It's about finding purpose, even in the shadows.
and recognizing that even after making mistakes, we still have the capacity for good.
Those are powerful themes. So for anyone looking for a show that challenges the conventions of the spy thriller genre,
Slow Horses is definitely worth checking out.
it's a gripping, thought-provoking series that will stay with you long after the credits roll.
And it makes you think about the choices we make, the consequences we face.
And the possibility of redemption, even in the most unexpected places.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So as we wrap up, here's a final thought to ponder. What kind of mistake would land YU in Slough House? Think about it. What choices, what actions could lead you to that place of exile and the long road to redemption? Something to chew on. Until next time.